Welcome to New Life Live, the premier place to receive free advice from Christian psychologists and counselors for the mental, emotional, relational, and spiritual challenges you face. Since 1988, we've offered compassionate responses that combine God's truth with proven psychological principles to guide you toward healing. Our phone lines are open. Call us now at 1-800-229-3000.
Welcome to New Life Live. So glad that you are with us today. It is myself, Chris Williams, licensed marriage and family therapist. I have our resident licensed psychologist today, Dr. Alice Benton.
Hi, Chris.
How's it going?
Well, I'm just delighted to be with you guys, to do this work, and to have brave callers call in.
There are times when your Minnesotan comes out.
Sometimes
and it
more
was
strongly.
I'm delighted.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And licensed marriage and family therapist, Dr. Jacqui Mack-Harris.
Hello.
All right,
Glad to be here.
Jacqui Mack, I always just love hearing from you, love your wisdom, and I want to hear more of it. What's on your mind today?
What's on my mind today? I was having a conversation with someone, and they were telling me about an event they went to, and at the end, the pastor said, "Have a gentle Christmas."
Oh.
Yeah.
I've never heard that before.
That reaction. Mm-hmm. That it sat with me, and I was like, a gentle Christmas. And so I've been just thinking about, like, what does that mean? What does a gentle Christmas look like? And I guess it could be different for all of us. But for me, that means no stress. For me, that means not maxing out credit cards to buy things for people that they don't need or want, that they will probably re-gift at some white elephant gift exchange next year, right?
Next year at the New Life Christmas party.
So it's gentle Christmas. I just want people to be kind to each other and to themselves this Christmas, and just to think about that. We say have a Merry Christmas. We say Happy Holidays. And I think this year, I'm going to say have a gentle Christmas, because some families are having really hard times and difficult conversations right now. And it would be great if they could, let's just be gentle with each other this holiday season. Let's love on each other. Some people have a hard time during the holidays because there have been loved ones lost. And so this is a difficult season for some people. Let's remember that. And then there's this tendency to get really stressed out and buy lots of things that in ways, and spend money in ways that we would not normally do, and eat in ways that we would not normally do.
Hey,
so
stop calling me out.
I'm just saying. So, and I'm saying it out loud to hold myself accountable too. This year, I don't want to behave like a different person. Like, there's a Christmas Jacqui, and then there's the rest of the year Jacqui, right? Not this year. This year, I'm just going to be me. I don't. My husband asked me the other day. He said, "I haven't gotten a list from you. What do you want?" And I genuinely don't want anything.
Yeah.
There's nothing I want or need. I just want life to keep being good, and for people to, for us to get together and talk and hang out and maybe have some tacos, because I'm not cooking a big, huge, crazy Christmas dinner. So yeah, have a gentle Christmas.
I love it. And what it reminds me of, it's like, we had those terms of like relax and chill out. Now my 13-year-old, the delight that he is, right, is, Dad, it's not that deep. That's one of them,
Yes.
And Dad, you're doing too much.
Ooh, yes.
You're doing,
He knows
you're doing too much.
Yeah, doing too much and not that deep.
And we take on such obligations and expectations and pressures that sometimes nobody's asking us to do, and yet we think we should. There are too many shoulds about Christmas.
Yeah.
When the real importance is the relational harmony from us to God and with our people.
Yes.
Yeah. And maybe there's wisdom in my 13-year-old. And
It's not that deep,
It's
Dad.
not that deep.
You're
and
doing too much.
You're doing too much.
So we need to have a gentle Christmas, because I absolutely love that. I probably need to, again, discover my inner 13-year-old voice that says, that's the reminder, not that deep.
Not that deep.
Not that deep, bro. And
you're doing too much.
You're doing too much. What are you doing? You're doing too much.
Yeah, take it easy. Have a gentle Christmas.
Yes. If there is a way that we can help you, you can give us a call. A great way to have a gentle Christmas is to have a therapist guide you through that process. And we can connect you on. We got a nationwide network of therapists and coaches. And you just have to call 1-800-NEW-LIFE to get connected with one of them. And we're going to come back right after this. 1-800-NEW-LIFE. 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 1-800-NEW-LIFE
I've been struggling with a porn addiction for the last 20 years.
Are you struggling with porn? New Life's Every Man's Battle Intensive can help.
Every Man's Battle explains to you why you are like you are, and they give you the tools and they show you how to work your way through the problems and where to get help and how to get help and who to get help through.
For over 20 years, New Life Ministries has been helping men regain their integrity and purity through their one-of-a-kind Every Man's Battle Intensive.
This was the first time in my life that I ever felt comfortable sharing the real me with other men.
Get help on January 20th in Atlanta. Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE to register or to find out more. 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com. Use the discount code NLL to save $50 on your registration.
Every Man's Battle was a life-changing experience for me.
You don't have to struggle any longer. 1-800-NEW-LIFE and the discount code NLL. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back to New Life Live. And, here at New Life, one of the most powerful experiences that we see people go through is our workshops and intensives. And the most powerful aspect of our workshops and intensives is the group work. And we see it over and over and over again. And it's one of the things that has really captured us in this question. How do we get more people involved in this type of work to get the healing and help that we need and that they need? And so in response to that, New Life is launching this really, really exciting new program here in the new year. We are launching New Life courses, and it's really to help people gain a sense of clarity, to find healing, and to continue or to engage in their transformation process. And so there are 3 different courses right now that we have scheduled in the new year. One of them is a grief recovery course. That one's going to start January 13th. And by the way, for the most impact for these courses, we cap them at 9. And so this is something that you want to be able to register as soon as possible. You want to jump in and get involved in this. And we also have January 13th, Lose It for Life. It has been a part of our ministry. It hasn't been a workshop that we've done in a while, but we know we get a lot of requests for it. And it's more than just weight loss and keeping the weight loss off. It's all of the things that drive maybe unhealthy behaviors and our relationship to food and diet. And also, coming up a little bit later in April, we have the divorce recovery course. These are all going to be led by a New Life licensed therapist and or coach. And so know that you are going to get great help and great support to go through this. And you can register online today to going to newlife.com, get help, or you can just give us a call at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. It is just this real exciting launch that I'm excited for. So all of you out there, jump in. If grief is something that is, and this is the holiday season where it tends to really, really come to the surface with a lot more intensity and a lot more pain, don't do this alone. Jump into this course. If New Year's coming and we're like, hey, I'm in an unhealthy spot physically and I need to do Lose It for Life, jump in right away. Again, you can go to newlife.com to the Get Help icon, and that will lead you exactly where you need to go to register for those today. With that, we're going to the phones. We're going to talk to Amy in Atlanta, Georgia, who connects with us through our podcast. Amy, so glad that you're with us today, and let us know what's going on in your life.
Hi, thanks for taking my call. I've learned so much from you guys over the years, and was just calling with a question. It's something that I've seen recently that's like shown up on social media reels, and you know how if you see one, you keep seeing more and more of the same thing. So it's about the claim that doing somatic exercises can release trauma.
Okay,
and I wanted to see if what your opinion on that is, if it seems valid. Now, some of the things I see, they're trying to get you to buy a workout course or something like that. So I don't know whether, just the validity of it, and would love to hear more about that.
It's funny that you mentioned this, Amy, because Jacqui and I, before the show, were talking about I'll call it this. This is not the most flattering term, but the assault of information that we have coming at us, especially through the social media at any given time or moment. And so there's a lot of it out there.
There is.
And some of it's really, really good and valid, and some of it's not so much.
Some of it's cuckoo. I'm just going to say it. Some of it doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah.
But I love that you're asking, because this is so important. So one, will answer your question, but two, thank you for just bringing that up, because people... when we see something playing, a lot of people just assume, well, it wouldn't be allowed here if it wasn't true. And then they just run with it, and people are getting hurt and scammed in all kinds of ways because of that, and making choices for their life that probably aren't in their best interest. But for somatic experiencing is an actual thing, and doing some type of somatic exercises can be really helpful in releasing trauma. Trauma lives in our body. Our body keeps score. It recalls our experiences and those sensations, and then it tries to protect us. And so sometimes we encounter a situation and we have a reaction that doesn't make sense to anyone around us, doesn't make sense to the person we're reacting to or with, and maybe not even to ourselves. And it may be coming from something historical. And so there are certain exercises you can do, certain mental exercises, certain physical exercises that you can do that actually move that trauma energy out of your body. This is one of the reasons why church service and fellowship can be so helpful. Some church services. In the Black church, we have a tendency to call and respond. You know, pastor's preaching, he says something, we say amen. There is this back and forth. There is something that happens when we get in a corporate environment and we expel energy. And so singing out loud, somebody singing one part and then we sing another. I've heard people talk about getting in their car and yelling, just screaming at the top of their lungs just to let out this energy. So I'm a big believer in doing work to move negative energy out of the body, because I deal with chronic pain, and I've learned over the past decade a few ways of releasing that pain. I've learned that all the years, whether it was in my childhood and growing up in my home where there was domestic violence and alcoholism, or being in the military and being taught that the right thing to do is to suck it up and just keep going, I learned to shove hard things deep down inside of me, and those things live and have energy. And so I think it's a great idea to find some somatic exercises that work for you, and maybe we can recommend a therapist that specializes in that.
Yeah, and for clarification, somatic is just another word for body, right? And another word for our embodied experience, the things that get, as we see, one of the more renowned books out there, The Body Keeps a Score by Dr. Bessel van der Kolk. And so somatic is a way to work trauma out through the body. And so, there's some definite exercises that we can do around that. One of my concerns in all of this, Amy, is that in treating trauma for well over a dozen years now, and all of the training involved in that, is that what we see are a lot of what I'll call hacks and half measures out there. That when we're looking at trauma, we're looking at a lot of different aspects and variables that take a lot of different training to understand and help people move through. And so oftentimes when we're in pain, we're looking for the silver bullet. We're looking for the one-size-fits-all magic thing that's going to get us out of our pain. And that's a very human response. But the truth of the matter is that when we're experiencing deeper levels of trauma, and not all trauma is created equal. In fact, none of it's created equal. But it's very important for us to work through that. It's really important to work through it with someone who knows what they're doing. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Amy, with this good question that you're asking, I wonder if I could take it personal and have you answer a few questions, but I'll start off with an example. My body experiences emotional discomfort mainly in my gut and chest, and I feel mostly anxiety. That is linked to my struggle with my belief I'm not good enough. that is linked to historical experiences of feeling rejection from people I cared about, people I wanted to love me and accept me. Do you know, Amy, what your main uncomfortable emotion is? And do you know where you experience it in your body?
No, not really. I wasn't really calling about a symptom that I have. It just seemed like I see this often, and from listening to the show, it seems like there's a deeper layer of work that has to be done. So that's why when I keep seeing this repeatedly by multiple different, I guess, people who specialize in this type of exercise or whatever, I was curious about, how does it work? Does it work? And it's really just more out of a curiosity.
So becoming aware of how our body presents emotions, and then the meaning behind the emotions, what that historical story is, and what our current day need is part of entering into the somatic process. So as we learn to read our body and figure out the emotions and why we're feeling them, I think it's a God-built system within us to direct us where we should go now, what we should do, what we need to feel, and what we need to think. And so we appreciate your curiosity, and we hope you'll take it into counseling if you want to try it out. And we can connect you with certified, licensed counselors so that you're not taking the risk of connecting with some halfway hack service on social media, but rather looking through our vetted system of counselors so we can help you further explore this.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, well, Amy, I was going to add just one thing in that. A lot of times when we're doing talk therapy or we're doing cognitive therapy, which can be very powerful and very effective, but it also can have very profound limitations to it as well. And so historical trauma tends to, again, get stored in the body. And so as it gets stored in the body and it gets locked up there, the exercises help release the energy, if that makes sense. But the releasing of the energy can be an emotional catharsis, but the mistake people make is that catharsis equals healing, and those are two different things. The healing is going to take time, as Alice was saying, of really understanding what are my emotions, what are the beliefs behind my emotions, where are they stored in my body, and where did they come from, and then how do I repair that? And stay in a reparative and growth process over and over and over again until the transformation and healing happens.
Yeah, so you're seeing it because people are suffering, and people who are creating these programs know that. And so there are probably some that are beneficial and helpful, and they're really trying to make a difference in the world. And then there may be some who are trying to make some money. And people, like, as Chris said, want the magic bullet. We are, looking for what's the quick fix, what's that thing I can do and be better right away. If you have a history of trauma, there's not a one-off. It's an ongoing process because the body keeps score, the body remembers, and it doesn't stop remembering because you did work. You figure out that I feel this way when I feel certain things, but that doesn't mean you'll never feel that way when you feel those things in the future because you've started doing work. What you're really doing is learning to acknowledge it and to be present with yourself and with your own experiences and no longer hide from them or hide them from other people. And then you can walk in freedom because your experiences have happened. They're a part of your story. But they can cause pain. And so I really appreciate the call because it just highlights that need for us to double check your sources.
Yes,
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very helpful.
Amy, again, I echo what Jacqui was saying. Thank you so much for a call. And that is such a great question. And yeah, we do need to really do extra vetting our information, talking about social media and the information out there and the accessibility to information and images. And one of the things that I was just working with a couple with on yesterday is that the husband had struggled with porn, and he's just like, hey, why does she get access to my phone? And I said, you remember that Spider-Man quote? With great freedom comes great responsibility. I said, listen, it's a torturous experience to have access to all of the different things that we have access to. Information is one of those things. We have phenomenal access to all this information. But we need more and more and more and more and more responsibility to go along with the information that we're getting. And that's what you're saying, Jacqui, is we need to vet this with, professionals and people who are trained and people who know, and thankful for that Amy called in with that.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times I liken it to this. The information out there is giving a 10-year-old a chemistry set, and someone's going to blow off their hand.
Yes.
And so if they don't know what they're doing with it. And so that's really important. And as we mentioned, we got a nationwide network of therapists and coaches that we vet that can help guide you with the professional and expertise that you need. And again, if there is a way that we can help you, give us a call, 1-800-NEW-LIFE, and we can connect you. And here's another tip for all of you like me who need help in finding Christmas presents. The resources that we have here at New Life are vast. The books that we hand out, we're going to send Amy Changes That Heal by Cloud and show that, hey, there's so many more of those resources that make great Christmas presents. Go to newlife.com to find them.
When you give to the New Life Scholarship Fund, you're giving someone hope for a brighter future.
I was kind of in the closet and hit with my struggle. Your donation really made the difference, especially in my situation, because I would have getting laid off from my job.
At the New Life Intensives, hurting people are able to begin a new path towards healing and freedom that has an effect on all of those around them.
I think the people who support New Life financially are people that I'll never know. I'll never be able to thank them personally for the gift that they gave to us. Their giving saved me, my husband, and our family from being torn apart.
To help hurting people to connect to the help they need, make your gift to the Scholarship Fund at newlife.com or by calling 1-800-NEW-LIFE and specifying scholarships.
Someone called and sponsored me to come this weekend. Whoever that is, just know that you saved a life. Literally, you saved my life.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
I was sort of vaguely familiar that the 12 steps had some origination in the Bible. I found Life Recovery, and one of the things I liked so much was that it had such a broad appeal. It wasn't limited to just alcohol or drugs, that it was addressing a wide range of problems.
At New Life, we believe everyone can benefit from a life recovery experience. There are life recovery groups all over the country. They take place online, in conference calls, and in person. And if there isn't one in your area, we can help you start one. We have startup materials, leaders' guides, CDs, Bibles, and more, all with discounts available for groups. Call us at 1-800-NEW-LIFE and ask for Terry Ward. The 12 Steps have long been a great help to people in recovery because much of the 12 Steps' power comes from the fact that they capture principles clearly revealed in the Bible.
The 12 Steps is really a pattern for all of us as Christians.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. We'd love to hear from you. If you have a question or a comment, call toll-free 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back to New Life Live. So glad that you are with us today. And we have an exciting and I'm just excited for it. It's even though these things are hard and difficult, and the things that I'm referring to are our workshops and intensives coming up in the new year. Our Restore workshop will be back in May in Dallas, and for women who've experienced, and especially wives who've experienced sexual betrayal, there's just not an area of their life that isn't negatively impacted by it, and they need and deserve great care. One of our attendees wrote this. She said, "His sex addiction took away my voice and power, but this weekend helped me realize I can have that back. I learned tools that I can use to help me heal. I have felt very alone in this situation, and this weekend made me feel seen and know that I am not alone, and that now I am living with a lot more hope." And Restore was going to be offered twice in 2025. The next one's coming up in May in Dallas. And these experiences that we see where people are carrying the pain, especially women in marriages and in relationships that are carrying the pain of sexual betrayal, is so painful and hurtful. And one of the things that we don't want to happen is for finances to be a barrier to that. And it is through your donations. And right now we have a match. So anything that you give right now doubles. And for more people like this attendee to get the help that she needs is possible because you give, is possible because you partner with us financially to make it happen. And if you want, if you're a past attendee as well, and or this is something near and dear to your heart, and you want to contribute directly to our scholarship fund, you can do that as well. You can find all of that at newlife.com and our donate icon. You can also just give us a call at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Chris, when our ladies show up to that weekend, we all gather in one big room, and everybody is a ball of overflowing anger and sadness and upset that they have to be there. And you may feel that way. Why should I go when my spouse, my partner, has been the problem and has caused this harm? But what happens through the weekend is a transformation that shockingly leads to so much freedom leaving the weekend, a sisterhood, a community, and knowledge of what to do next, no matter what the man in your life is choosing to do. And so you will leave equipped and empowered and being able to access a serenity, a holy serenity. Ladies, make use of it, but you don't have to wait for that weekend, because you can get connected with one of our counselors to start the work now and then also join the weekend to feel that additional healing. That's really good. Also, if you want a question or an issue addressed or a question answered and you can't call in while we're on air, you can still get it done. You can get it done by going to newlife.com/radio and do a write-in question. And with that, we're going to go to one right now. So, Alice, we have a write-in caller, and tell us who they are and what their issue is. Michelle wrote in from Cherry Hill, New Jersey, and she listens on WFIL. Her question is my vocal disorder and agoraphobia related to stress and anxiety in my marriage? I was diagnosed 35 years ago with neurological vocal disorder, spasmodic dysphoria. I also suffered from agoraphobia when driving on unfamiliar highways. I've been married 43 years, but realized 5 years ago that my husband is a narcissist. I'm a worrier, and I feel that leads to anxiety. Living with my husband has become almost unbearable. It's very stressful. Just want to know if all these are related. And I love you guys. Oh, very good. Okay, so hold on, though. Spasmodic dysphonia? Am I saying that right? That is a wild term. Like, it's just fun to say and hard to, like, spasmodic dysphonia. Okay. Yeah. So, but it is really affecting her voice. And we just heard in the testimony from this woman that her voice and her power was taken away through her husband's sexual addiction, which is a very high-stress situation. All right, friends, what do you think?
Well, I think her question is, could this be related to the stress and anxiety in our marriage? And my simple answer to that is yes. Our body is, like all the parts are connected, and then we are relational beings. And so having spasmodic dysphonia, my guess, I'm just breaking that down just from the words, it sounds like when you try to talk, your throat spasms and there is a problem in the way that you're forming sounds and words. So it's kind of like someone who stutters when they're nervous. My doctor stutters, and sometimes he stutters and sometimes he doesn't. And I can tell when it's been a hectic day because he stutters more, right? So I think that the stress definitely is impacting her ability to speak. And then the agoraphobia, if you're constantly worried and there's conflict and things are being said, that can add to your fear of leaving your safe space. And so I just say yes, and that I just would encourage Michelle to connect with a good therapist that can help her work through that.
Yeah. Michelle, you must hardly feel safe in any area if your husband is so toxic to be around and hurtful to you, and you don't feel comfortable outside the home either. And we can truly help you to develop a safe relationship, but it may have to start with a professional relationship to then work through the connection between your anxiety, the way you're being mistreated, and how your body is reacting to it. It's a brave question, a very brave question.
Well, and regardless of the physical condition, the relational condition needs a lot of help. That's where our Intimacy and Marriage workshop in February could be a real help to Michelle and her husband. And yeah, I think we have a few more thoughts on this, especially as stress impacts us physically, and there's no stress like relational stress, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that right after this.
Restore gave me strength. It gave me more belief in my faith. I met up with a group of women that are going through things that they had no control over.
If you've been affected by betrayal, an emotional or physical affair, or pornography, Restore Intensive will equip you with support and tools to help you through.
When two people want to do their part, we can be restored. But if they don't, we can still be restored. We are not stuck because someone else made a decision. That God lets us weigh in on how we want to walk out our lives. Our wellness does not hinge on another person's decision.
The Restore Intensive is coming to Dallas, Texas, May 2nd through the 4th. Register online at newlife.com or call 1-800-NEW-LIFE and use the discount code NLL to save $50.
I had a great experience at Restore.
1-800-NEW-LIFE and the discount code NLL. Club New Life changes lives.
I think I go way back to listening to New Life, learning so much from it, and then becoming a Club New Life member.
Club New Life is a monthly giving family that helps New Life Ministries provide Christ-centered hope and counseling resources to thousands of people.
You know, I'm so thankful because you know why I keep giving? Because I keep learning, and I'm so thankful for all the lives that you touch every day and the people's lives. So when I get to still hear the radio show, it's just so encouraging to my heart.
When you sign up to support us monthly through Club New Life, you'll make a difference in the lives of individuals and families with godly counsel and connection to help.
And you know one reason I give? Because I feel like sometimes I'm hiding behind a counselor's couch, listening to all this great information, not paying. So my guilt of this great advice is alleviated by being a Club New Life member.
Call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433. And together we can help hurting people find help and hope in life's hardest places. Call 1-800-639-5433 to join Club New Life today. We're glad you joined us for New Life Live. To be a part of the program, call 1-800-229-3000. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back to New Life Live. So glad that you are with us today. And we were having a write-in question from Michelle in Cherry Hills, New Jersey. And she was having this vocal disorder and wondering if it was tied to the stress in her marriage. And as I mentioned going into the break, there's really no stress like relational stress. As you were saying, Jacqui, there are chemicals in our body like cortisol, adrenaline, all kinds of different things that activate in us that don't decipher between mental stress and physical stress. It just is all... it gets in the system.
And when we live with chronic high-level stress, it begins to deteriorate our immune system and has negative impact on our body. And the resulting emotions of chronic stress, things like anger, justified resentment, bitterness, unforgiveness, all of which would be understandable if, Michelle, you feel some of those things with your husband continuing to mistreat you. But when those emotions linger in the body long term, it negatively impacts our physical health. And the opposite of them, love, forgiveness, grace, peace, those things bring healing to the body.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Michelle, we're going to encourage you to get into the help that you need. And one of the things I had to do a few years ago is that a direct order from my doctor was, Chris, you've got to learn how to de-stress. And I couldn't believe how hard it was. It was a lot of work, but I also couldn't believe how beneficial it was now that I've learned better how to de-stress.
And Michelle, if your husband is a narcissist, as you say, it's feels impossible to de-stress within the state of your marriage as it is. And so a counselor will help you address your husband, request that he enter into help, request changes in how he relates to you. Hopefully there'll be success there. If he is unwilling and he's resistant, then one of our good counselors can then help you determine how to protect yourself and how much to create space within your marriage so that your body can get to a healthier, safer place.
Yeah, that's really good. And just a reminder for everyone out there, we have Intimacy in Marriage coming up February 14th here in Orange County. Again, you can go to newlife.com or give us a call at 1-800-NEW-LIFE to register for that today. And we love hearing also from the wisdom of the past that is always relevant today. So we're going to go to a flashback call. It is Steve and Henry talking with Renee.
Let's go to Renee from Sacramento, California. Hi, Renee. Welcome to New Life.
Hey, thank you.
How is it going?
I guess I had one initial question for you, and then now I keep tossing back and forth about a relationship that I have with a boyfriend, if I stay or if I go or if I try to repair it. And I'm trying to figure out what to do.
Okay, now, you're trying to repair the relationship with the ex-boyfriend so that you can be friends, or so he could be your boyfriend again?
You know, really, in all honesty, I would like for him to be my boyfriend again.
Now, really, in all honesty, I kind of knew that.
It is so rare, Renee, we get a call from somebody, oh, I just wish I had this friend back.
That's of the opposite sex that we used to date. Yeah.
Hey, Renee, before we know anything,
okay,
what would be a reason why you wouldn't want him back?
Oh, the biggest reason is because he does not know, and I'm laughing, but it's really painful that he doesn't know how to resolve anything. Like if I say I have a problem with X, it's just, oh, okay, but it doesn't get resolved, which is the reason why we broke up.
Okay, so now that has not changed.
No, that has not changed.
And the reason you broke up was strong enough for you to break up that you didn't want to have a lifetime of that, right?
Well, yes. I mean, in his mind, the reason why he broke up with me was because I was an angry person. But in my mind and what I seen is that whatever the problem was, whatever it was, and we only argued about one thing, was it just didn't get fixed.
And the one thing you argued about was?
We don't spend enough time together because we're in a long-distance relationship, and there's not a level of saying, okay, if I said I need to spend more time with him, he would say, okay. And
all right.
It wouldn't,
Renee,
it never materialize.
Henry is the author of How to Get a Date Worth Keeping. And Henry, what do you think? They're having some pretty big problems here, and she still would like to be this man's girlfriend.
Yeah. Well, I want to ask one question first, Renee. He said that you were angry. He broke up with you because you were angry in his mind, right?
That's correct.
Now, you dismissed that and said, well, in your mind, it's because he won't face anything. But were you angry?
Yes and no, and I guess there's only one answer, so it's yes.
Okay. Now, were you reasonably angry?
No, I was unreasonably, and I will say I was unreasonably angry because this had been going on for such a long time. I just exploded, and it was not nice, and it was just out of just pure frustration and disappointment that it was the same old.
And the same old. What is it that you wanted from him? I know you said more time, but what is it? Help me understand that, and let me tell you why I ask.
Okay.
Having sat there with a lot of couples over the years, people have different quotients inside of themselves for how much time we ought to be spending together, right? And there's kind of an acceptable sort of, Guy and the Beverly Hillbillies would all agree, kind of range. If a couple doesn't see each other for 10 years, that's not enough. But he ought to be able to go bowling, once a year, and that ought to be acceptable. Somewhere in between there is kind of like a logical land. Now, were you requiring and requesting unreasonable things from him?
No, these were not unreasonable. You said bowling once a year.
I was kidding.
I kid you not. We've been together for 3 years, and I've had 2 Saturdays in 3 years.
With him?
Yeah, and that, when I say that, I mean before I see him, before 2 Saturdays, meaning all day, like I would see him at like 8 or 9. Most of the other times, it would be like every other weekend, and I would see him at like, let's say 7 o'clock, but he would be dead tired from working 12 hours, 15-hour days, 6 days a week. So there was nothing there that was quality. And that
whoa, stop. The way I heard that was in 3 years, you only spent 2 days with him. That's not what you're saying, right?
No, I didn't say that. What I'm saying is in 2 years. No, I'm not saying that. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that we did not spend a lot of quality time together. We spent time together, but in 2 years, there were only 2 days in 2 years that we actually spent a whole day together, meaning like a Saturday from 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock in the morning until that afternoon or the next day.
Okay.
The rest of the
All right.
time, he would be really tired, and so we didn't spend that time together.
Okay, so that's not enough for you.
No,
Right?
I don't know.
Okay. All right. So you told him, I want a relationship where I have more time than we are having. Right?
Right.
And he said no.
No, he didn't even say no. He said okay.
But
it was always okay.
Yeah, but he with his behavior he said no.
Yes.
Okay. So what is it? What is hard for you to see about this picture that you want something that he's not going to provide?
I guess the hardest thing is, then, if he's saying it that way, is being able to let go, because he's actually a decent guy for all other accounts, and that's what I'm.
Okay, but why would anybody have any problem in any relationship if it were any other way? In other words, every dating relationship that doesn't end up in marriage, right? But it's in this kind of like never land. Obviously, there were good things that drew them together, right? But there was some reason why it wasn't right. I wish we had a lot of time on this, but
well, we'll send her How to Get a Date Worth Keeping.
Here's
but
the problem,
I have
Steve.
not found one thing other than this guy looks good to other people.
Yeah, the problem is you don't judge a relationship by just what you like about somebody. Right. You judge a relationship by the totality of the relationship. And you got to look at the total thing. And are you willing to pay on the negative side to get all of the good things? And what she was telling us was no, that the negative side, the amount of time that he wanted to be together, was not good enough to where she was happy with the net of what she was getting. And so you just because there's good things doesn't mean you can't let go. You got to learn to let go of good things. That's an important part of anything.
We've had so many calls like from a pastor's wife or a deacon's wife who says, well, everybody loves him. He said, but when he's at home, he doesn't even give me any attention. That's how these relationships get started, is that you get attracted to the external person who's put their best foot forward, and then their second foot, ugly foot, it ain't too pretty.
Such great wisdom from Steve and Henry. We judge our relationships by the totality of our relationships, and there will be more wisdom coming at you right after this.
We all face days where life throws us a curveball and our routines or plans get disrupted. Things we wanted to do are forced to take a backseat to the unexpected demands of the day. If you normally listen to New Life Live on a radio station, well, you might not be able to that day. And on these hectic days when you're feeling stressed or frazzled, hearing the sound of counsel given on New Life Live is just what you need to navigate the unexpected things of life.
Every time I'm troubled or I have a problem, I'll cut on New Life, and there's always something that is said that is helpful to me.
By listening, I have learned more than I can ever express about how God wants me to live.
Download the New Life app for the easiest way to listen wherever you are and at a time that's convenient for you, or watch the show on our YouTube channel. You can even subscribe to our podcast from your favorite podcast provider. you never have to miss a day of New Life. Wherever you are, we are. For over 35 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
Your ministry has saved my life.
If you struggle with emotional hurt, family or marriage problems, the pit of depression, or the pain of addiction, we can help.
I'm down 100 pounds now from what I was.
I found a counselor through New Life Ministries, and it's just been outstanding.
Our treatment programs provide clinically appropriate solutions from licensed professionals, all in a biblical framework.
I have had problems with alcohol. I think God has ordained this place to be His.
You don't have to be a prisoner of your pain. Help is available at 1-800-NEW-LIFE.
She tells me that I'm a new man, and I feel like a new man.
It worked for me, and it can work for them too.
This time it is different.
If you're ready to take the first steps toward genuine spiritual and emotional healing, call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. God can open the door for a better tomorrow.
To get someone that's competent, that's good at what they do, it's been like day and night compared to what I've had before.
Call 1-800-639-5433. To find out more information about New Life or to order any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Now back to New Life Live.
Welcome back to New Life Live. We had just heard a flashback call with Stephen Henry talking with Renee in Sacramento, and she's holding on to this relationship. And I kept thinking of like, you're holding on to something that's not available. And if a person can be great and wonderful, but if they're not available, as heartbreaking as it is, that's part of the relationship. And I just love what Henry said about we judge a relationship not on a particular aspect of it, but on the totality of the relationship. Mm-hmm. Such great wisdom there. Yeah. All right, we're going to go right back to the phones. We're going to go to Joy, listening in San Francisco, California on Sirius XM. Joy, so glad that you're with us today. Tell us what's going on.
Hi. Yes, I'm just wondering, so your person asked me if I had one question, what would it be? And my question would be why? It's because I'm just going through, seems like I just went out the gate, you know, from birth, just going through trauma. And it's been going on ever since. And I'm talking everything from trauma to mysterious illnesses that can't be explained, like mysterious deaths that can't be explained, like my granddaughter died last year in her sleep.
Oh,
they
my
don't know why.
goodness.
You know, and my 1-year-old grandson, he passed out twice at school, and then he passed out again at home and stopped breathing, and they don't know why. You know, it's just, I don't understand. And so I get looked at, you know, sometimes by people, you know, as if, you know, oh gosh, she's got so much going on, you know. I just never feel normal. And I am now at this point, I'm stressed out.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Because there's a lot of loss and pain and trauma. And there doesn't seem to be much of a break from it in your life.
No.
Joy, do you know, like, your family history? Was there extreme trauma in your family of origin or your mom or dad's family of origin?
I know my dad, they don't talk much about those things, but my mom died when I was 1 in a fire.
Oh,
so,
okay.
Yeah.
So we've talked earlier about how traumatic experiences live in the body. That's true generationally as well. And there is a belief that what we experience lives in our body, so that's going to be in our DNA, and then we pass that on. Mm-hmm. And so sometimes we're living out historical trauma from generations ago. And so I think that there's work that you could do with a therapist you could create what we call a genogram and look back at the stories of your family and the different deaths and illnesses and see if you can find some pattern. That might just be a good exercise for your mind, because your mind is trying to put a puzzle together, but there are no pieces. And so you might get some stress relief from just creating pieces to the puzzle, so you have something to start looking at. You know, a lot of us, people of color, a lot of African American or Black people in America are doing their DNA testing because they don't really have historical data on where they came from, and there are stories in our cells that are living, but we don't have answers. So I would just encourage you to get with a therapist that could work through the genogram process with you, and that might give you some answers. And you might be the type of person that needs to be in therapy long term because there's been so much going on, and you always need to be processing something. And I do believe that emotional pain causes physical illness. I was a nurse before I was a therapist, and I've just my whole life seen them all go together. And so getting with a good group that you could be processing with, I think would be helpful as well.
Yeah, that's good.
Joy, the why question is so difficult to answer. We can find reasons, and it's good to look for them. And then, admittedly, there are some things we just won't find out until heaven. Mm-hmm. But I do notice patterns. I know that innocent people suffer through no fault of their own. I know those who pursue good and try to spread the gospel suffer because they're doing the right thing. And the Bible confirms and really warns us those two things will happen. But there also is wreckage for sin that does get passed down from one generation to the next. And we can see it really clearly in alcoholism and infidelity because there are genetic, biological consequences to those two chronic patterns in families, and it sets up the next generation to be more vulnerable to perpetrate the same problems or to become victims of similar problems. And so where the Bible says that those who choose God's way will be blessed for 1,000 generations, but also those who step out of God's way, there will be consequences down to the 3rd and the 4th generation because the wreckage of sin lingers. And all those different versions of suffering are so awful, especially for the innocent victims who are affected because of what a past generation did. But what's so beautiful about God's redemptive process and the therapeutic process is that his promise of we will work all things for the good for those who believe in him becomes true. And so the immense suffering that your family has gone through for ages, it can be turned around because God miraculously can use it for good if you enter into the healing process and stay in it.
And I genuinely believe that if we do our work in this generation and we get well, we stop handing down generational trauma. Just like generational wealth and generational poverty is handed down, generational trauma or generational wellness is handed down, and you are stepping out and saying, this is a problem, I see it, let me learn more about it, let me do some work, and so that I can start to heal so that it doesn't get passed into the next generation.
I think that's really good. I love that, we can pass down generational wealth, but we can also pass down generational health.
Yes.
And relational, emotional health is a huge, huge part of that. It's this thing of like, why has been around forever. There's an entire book of the Bible devoted to this question. It's called the Book of Job. And because why Job was suffering in the way he was in extreme ways. Now, the writer, God lets us in on what's actually going on. But Job doesn't know. The humans of the story don't know. And do you know what answer they get on the question why?
I've always said it's because I said so.
The actual answer, this is the Chris Williams interpretation, is none of your business. Now, it sounds cruel and it sounds mean, but really I think there's just things that are happening in and to and around us that, as you said, Alice, we won't know till the other side. We do still want to take the responsibility, as you're saying, Alice, to explore. And as Jacqui was saying, let's look at what's happening generationally. Let's look at what happened in our life. What's the bigger picture going on? But most important, the reason for our pain is typically not going to help us in the actual action of healing our pain. So that's what we really need to engage in, is the healing of the pain that we're going in. And I love the recommendation and the encouragement for you, Joy, to get into some deeper trauma work with a counselor. And if you stay online, we will connect you with a person that can help guide you in that process.
And that work, Joy, will probably entail being angry and expressing that anger with all your forefathers who put you through this, with God who allowed it, and then by confessing and choosing to forgive with God's help. That's where the peace comes from.
Absolutely. So, Joy, thank you so much for calling in today. We're going to send you a copy of the book Changes That Heal by Dr. Henry Cloud, and know that it's been such an instrumental book in my own life in guiding my process as well. And again, we thank you for calling in. We thank you all for being with us today. Jacqui, Alice, as always, I learned so much from you guys. It's great to share this time and this space and glean from your wisdom. And to everyone out there, we're going to wish you a gentle Christmas.
Yes.
And until next time, be well.
Thanks for listening. We hope this program has helped you by giving you insights for handling the challenges you face in your life. We want you to know that we're here for you, but you also need to know that New Life Live is a listener-supported ministry. To make your donation or to get any of the resources mentioned on today's program, call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433 or online at newlife.com. Please join us again tomorrow for New Life Live.
Thanks for watching today. We love helping people. I hope you sense that. And we know that there's always hope if you find the right resource. Now, if something we've said to somebody else applies to you, that's fantastic. That's what we're hoping for. But also, if you want to join us directly, you can call 1-800-229-3000 between 1 and 3 Eastern Time, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Those are the best times to get through. And while you're here on YouTube, check out these other videos that we've done to help people see where they could grow or a different path to take. And if you do that, would you give us a thumbs up on the video? And please subscribe to this channel. There are many ways that we can help you outside of the radio program, and it's very hard for some to pick up a phone and dial 1-800-NEW-LIFE. But when you do, we put you in touch with somebody who cares about you, knows all the resources out there, and they're going to find the best for you. There is no reason to struggle alone. I hope to see you tomorrow. Hope you'll invite somebody else to come and join that maybe needs just a little bit of help along the way. I'll see you next time.